Number 8. The Ghost Army of the Franklin Expedition. Let's play a game. You're a 19th century sailor stuck in the Arctic, running low on food, slowly freezing to death, and your ship is literally stuck in ice. Welcome to the Franklin Expedition, history's frosty middle finger to optimism. In 1845, Sir John Franklin set off from England with 2 ships, the HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, which, spoiler alert, was a very accurate name, to find the Northwest Passage. They were never heard from again. Fast forward to the 1980s, and archaeologists started digging up what can only be described as the most horrifyingly well-preserved Arctic horror story. On Beachy Island, 3 bodies were exhumed from their icy graves. These weren't skeletons. These were dudes. One had a puffy face like he'd just overslept, eyelashes intact, nails visible, still dressed in full naval gear like he was ready to clock in for shift, except, 140 years late. Autopsies revealed scurvy, tuberculosis, and good old-fashioned lead poisoning, likely from their canned food. Yep, these guys were literally poisoned by their dinner. Imagine dying slowly in the snow, confused out of your mind, because your meat pie was basically a heavy metal cocktail. Even creepier, when divers found the wrecks of the Erebus and Terror finally in 2014 and 2016, they were almost intact. Tools still sat on workbenches, boots floated near hammocks, like a scene from Titanic, except Canadian and filled with ghost vibes. So, if you ever feel like your job is slowly killing you, just remember the Franklin Expedition and be grateful your office isn't actively trying to mummify you in real time. Number 7. The Ancient Virus Time Capsules. Quick question. What's worse than a deadly virus? How about a 30,000-year-old mystery virus that scientists dug out of Siberian permafrost and accidentally woke up? Yep. In 2014, researchers revived a virus called Pithavirus sibericum. It had been chilling, literally in the ice since woolly mammoths were still a thing. And the moment it thawed out, surprise! It started infecting amoebas again. Because apparently, ancient microbes don't believe in retirement. Now, before you panic buy hazmat suits, this virus only targets single-celled organisms, not humans. Yet. But the real kicker, scientists kept going. Since then, they've revived more frozen viruses, just to study them. Because nothing says, great idea, like poking ancient biological bears with a scientific stick. The fear isn't just zombie viruses. Though yes, that phrase now exists. It's that melting permafrost could release long, dormant pathogens humanity hasn't seen in millennia. Pathogens we have zero immunity to. Because why just have climate change when you can throw in a potential ice age plague for extra spice? So while we're down here arguing over whether to wear SPF 50 or 100, ancient viruses are up north biding their time like Bond villains in a deep freeze. Sleep tight. Number 6. The Ice Age Puppy with a Full Belly. If you've ever looked at a dog and thought, you're a good boy, but I wish you were also a 14,000-year-old biological mystery, well, have I got the popsicle for you. Meet Tumat, a mummified puppy discovered in the Siberian permafrost in 2016. Not just any old pile of fur and bones. This prehistoric pup was so well preserved you could still see its whiskers. Whiskers. That's not a dog corpse. That's a furry fossilized ghost with unfinished business. And here's where it gets weirder. In 2020, scientists found another pup from the same region, so well preserved they couldn't even tell if it was a dog or a wolf. That's right, this Ice Age floof is from a time when dogs were still becoming dogs. It's like finding a half-downloaded golden retriever. But wait, it gets grosser, in the coolest way. Scientists examined the little guy's stomach and discovered a rhinoceros, or more accurately a piece of woolly rhino meat. That means either A, this puppy scavenged a dead rhino like a badass, or B, someone fed him rhino sashimi, which means early humans were just casually handing out endangered megafauna like treats. The pup even had milk teeth, meaning it was just a baby. A carnivorous, fuzzy baby with the prehistoric equivalent of steak tartare in its gut. Honestly, it's like the Lion King, but colder and with more freezer burn. So yes, somewhere out there in the frozen wastelands of Russia lies the dog before dogs, still holding onto his rhino lunch like he's guarding it for when the Ice Age thaws. Loyalty, eternal. Appetite, legendary. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. It means a lot to me. Number 5. The frozen lake full of skeletons. Okay, you know those lakes that look peaceful and tranquil. Mirror-like surfaces, birds chirping, gentle breezes. Now imagine that lake melts in the summer and suddenly reveals hundreds of human skeletons just chillin' at the bottom like it's the world's worst spa day. Welcome to Ropkund Lake, also known as Skeleton Lake in the Indian Himalayas. Sounds romantic, right? Discovered in 1942 by a British forest ranger who was probably just trying to find a good picnic spot. Ropkund Lake became instantly legendary for being absolutely stuffed with bones. Hundreds of them. Everywhere. All around the lake and under it. Surprise, your vacation is now a horror movie. For decades, no one knew who they were or how they died. At first, people thought they were an invading army, cursed pilgrims, or unlucky traders. But modern forensics finally brought the tea. The dead came from different centuries, different regions, and some even had DNA linking them to the Mediterranean. That's right. This wasn't one tragic group. It was multiple, separated by 1,000 years, just all dying in the same creepy spot. The leading theory, giant hailstones. Like softball-sized death from above. Imagine climbing a mountain and suddenly being bludgeoned by frozen sky marble so big they shatter your skull. No shelter. No escape. Just the universe pelting you with icy karma. So the next time someone says, "Let's go on a spiritual hike," maybe check the forecast. And avoid the lake with skeletons in its name. Number 4. The man with the axe in his back. Ah yes, nothing like a relaxing alpine hike. Fresh air, gorgeous views, the occasional 5,000-year-old murder victim frozen in a glacier. Meet Tootsie the Iceman, Europe's oldest cold case, discovered by 2 German tourists in 1991 who were probably just hoping to find a scenic selfie spot and instead found a corpse. A really old one, like Copper Age old. At first, people thought it was just some unlucky climber who bit the snow during a storm. Then came the radiocarbon dating, the forensic scans, the full VIP autopsy treatment. Turns out, Tootsie died around 3300 BC, had 61 tattoos, and was rocking a sheepskin coat like some prehistoric fashion icon. Move over. Patagonia. He did it first. But here's where it gets spicy. Tootsie didn't just wander up a mountain and freeze. Nope, he was murdered. There was an arrowhead lodged in his shoulder, and, wait for it, a deep gash in his hand, likely from trying to defend himself. Also, blunt force trauma to the head. So unless glaciers have developed a taste for mob hits, we're looking at a full-blown ancient homicide. His last meal, goat meat, grain, and some wild herbs. Probably eaten right before someone decided to end his prehistoric Yelp review with violence. And let's not forget the copper axe found with him. Something that would have been a top-tier weapon at the time. Think of it as the Bronze Age version of walking around with a diamond-encrusted katana. Maybe it was a robbery gone wrong. Maybe it was revenge. Maybe he just cut in line at the village quinoa stand. Either way, Tootsie is now a celebrity mummy with his own museum exhibit, merch, and fan theories. Congratulations, man, you froze your way into true crime history. Number 3. The Ice Age bird, with intact feathers. If you thought dogs and mammoths were the only things turning up in nature's deep freezer, hold on to your binoculars, because 2020 also brought us a 46,000-year-old bird, perfectly preserved. Feathers, eyelashes, poop tract, the works. This fluffball was found near Belaya Gora in the Siberian tundra, where else? And looked like it just finished tweeting about brunch. Scientists confirmed it was a horned lark, a cute little ground bird that existed way before humans invented couches or sarcasm. And yet, here it was, chillin' in a freezer for nearly 50 millennia, looking like it was ready for a close-up. Why is this so wild? Because soft tissue like feathers usually decomposes faster than your will to clean the bathroom. Yet somehow, this lark managed to stay intact like hit, pause, on reality itself. And if your brain is already screaming, CLOIT, scientists are way ahead of you. They're studying its genome to compare with modern larks, to see how birds evolved over time. Because nothing says scientific curiosity like defrosting ancient birds and poking their DNA with sequencers. The lark's final resting place. Buried in underground ice, probably zapped mid-flight by an ice age cold snap or a sudden snowstorm. Either way, it froze fast enough to become taxidermy without the taxes. In summary, this burden didn't go out with a bang. It went out with a burr. Number 2. The frozen forest time forgot. Trees are chill. Literally in this case. Deep in the Alaskan tundra and parts of Siberia, scientists have discovered entire forests trapped beneath the permafrost. Not just logs, mind you. Upright trees, still rooted in ancient soil. Standing like green ghosts beneath layers of ice and muck. Some even have bark still clinging on like they're not ready to leave the party. 30,000 years later. These aren't your average Christmas tree graveyards either. We're talking spruce, larch, and pine from a time when mammoths were trampling the underbrush and saber-toothed cats were probably peeing on the trunks. The spookiest part, these frozen forests are perfectly preserved snapshots of prehistoric ecosystems, pollen, needles, even bug trails in the wood. It's like Earth decided to vacuum seal an entire national park just in case someone needed it later. But here's the part. As permafrost melts, climate changeant. These ancient forests are thawing. And when 30,000-year-old trees thaw, they don't just look spooky. They release carbon, a lot of it. Because these trees haven't decomposed yet. They're basically time bombs made of plant farts. One 2019 study found that the carbon locked up in Siberian permafrost could rival modern emissions if released too quickly. So those majestic ghost trees buried in ice, they're not just beautiful, they're also part of a ticking climate grenade. Think about it. Forests that died during the Ice Age might come back to kill us in the Information Age. That's not pudic, it's horrifying. So next time you hear someone say, "I love ancient nature," maybe check if it's about to gas you from beneath the dirt. Number 1. The infant lion that's way too fluffy. If Disney ever made The Lion King, Ice Edition, this would be the star. In 2015 and again in 2017, scientists uncovered 2 baby cave lions, named Vian and Dina, frozen in Siberian permafrost like prehistoric beanie babies. These cubs were so well preserved that they looked like they could yawn, stretch, and ask for a bottle at any moment. Estimated to be over 30,000 years old. They were found curled up in nap position, paws tucked under, fur intact, and those tiny whiskers still doing their thing. The one had a facial expression like it had just been mildly inconvenienced, which is pretty relatable for something that's technically a fossil. Cave lions were the largest big cats of the Ice Age, stronger and bigger than today's African lions. These babies never got to reach that point, obviously, but they were already sporting the signature thick coats and muscular builds of cold weather apex predators. Like miniature murder bears, but cute. Scientists have been studying their organs, DNA, and even muscle tissue, because these lion cubs weren't just skeletons. They were more like biological time machines wrapped in plush. And yes, some researchers are now whispering about cloning, because apparently Jurassic Park wasn't enough of a cautionary tale. So we're left with a very modern problem. If you revive an Ice Age lion, is it still endangered? Or do you just have one extremely confused predator with a diet of Uber Eats and existential dread? Either way, we now live in a world where lion mummies are a thing. So go ahead and add frozen baby predator to the list of things your brain has to casually accept before lunch. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.